Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again in this YouTube astrological segment. I'm going to be talking about transit Pluto conjoined, or I should say conjunct one's natal Jupiter. Now, when you have transits that involve Pluto, that can be about transformation, power, obsession, fixation, and control. When transit Pluto conjoins one's natal Jupiter, well, this could manifest in transformation, power, obsession, fixation, and control. It could be in matters with the law. There could be power struggles with the situation involving the law. If you're in a legal matter, you might have some urge to maybe reform or transform some kind of statutes or laws in your area. It could be a situation too. Remember that Jupiter's connected with the truth. This could be about having power in knowing the truth. Maybe it's about, say if it's in the seventh house, it could be like over an open adversary or a legal opponent, which could be beneficial to you in a court situation. It can also be about being very obsessed or fixated with expanding horizons at this time. If you've been in a situation, let's say especially that might be very monotonous, or you've been stagnant, you haven't really deviated from what you've ordinarily been doing, you've been in some kind of a rut, this could be the time where you might put a lot of, really a lot, it could be energy into broadening your horizons and really be fixated on doing so more so than usual. But at the same time, remember that Pluto can also be about destruction and obliteration, figurative death. Now, the fact that Jupiter is connected with optimism, exuberance, and enthusiasm, it could indicate at this time where that energy might be all but obliterated, but it could also give power in this. Now, the thing about this is, keep in mind, as I've stated in previous videos, now conjunctions in astrology can be neutral. They could have good and bad aspects and elements to them. And a lot of it can be predicated and dependent on the aspects that this trans in this example makes to other points in your chart, whether it manifests more positively or negatively. Now, it could also be, keep in mind, Jupiter is connected with long distance travel, traveling to other countries. It can be a time where you might be taking more secretive, mysterious long distance journeys at this time and adventures, and might be doing so and not really telling a lot of people maybe where you're going, or maybe the details that are connected with this. Jupiter is also associated with higher education. So you might feel at this time that you might be gaining more power through having a higher education. You might be more obsessed with college courses. Could simply mean also that you may be taking some Plutonian college education course. It might be doing something with forensics, investigation, the law, maybe embalming. It could be something with the occult, which could include astrology. Another thing too is that this could also be, some situation as well. I mean, looking at Jupiter, as far as anatomically speaking, Jupiter is connected with the liver, the pancreas, sciatic nerve, hip, even could be even cancer. So it might be a time in some cases where you might be dealing with a crisis that might be connected with one or more of these things. In some isolated cases, it could even manifest in death through one of the things I described. I don't know if anybody could die in connection with the sciatic nerve, but I believe if something's very problematic with the liver or pancreas, that can happen. I believe there is something called pancreatic cancer, if I'm not mistaken. Renowned actor Patrick Swayze had passed away due to that. And anyway, Jupiter is also associated with philosophy, so you have to be careful this time that you're not really, lack of better words, I mean, coercing somebody, trying to manipulate others into your beliefs and way of thinking, being overly forceful with your philosophical beliefs or maybe even religious beliefs at this time. Um, Jupiter can also be connected with sports. It can show a lot, if you're involved in sports, it might be a lot more intensity and obsessive energy in connection with this. Uh, Jupiter is also associated with publishing. So it might be a time where you could either be really more obsessed and fixated with publishing, maybe almost everything but compulsive with this, or it could simply mean that you might find yourself publishing things that are Pluto related. It could be deep subjects, it could be, or speaking deeply on subjects, it could be something connected with death. It might be something connected with the occult, which includes astrology, or anything else. Plutonian can be something associated with embalming, matters with life and death, crisis, dealing with upheavals, forensics, investigation, and also too, or transformation, recycling, some other examples. Jupiter can also be associated with foreigners. So it might be a time where there might be more intensity, maybe in matters with this, or you might be more, it can be a power struggle that you might be dealing with a foreigner. Uh, it might be a situation too where you might be trying to, looking at this as well, some other ways that this can manifest and pan out. You might find yourself, as I was stating before, I reiterated though, being fixated or obsessed with indoctrinating others uh, with your beliefs and opinions. Let's say if this transit falls in Aquarius as an example, it could be through some unorthodox philosophy or religion or something with astrology. You might find yourself having more power in connection with the law, this time being more knowledgeable about things associated with the law and how the law can work to your advantage. Um, if this is in Capricorn as an example, it could be through maybe there's something with an unlawful termination by an authority figure, and you're delving deep into trying to figure out what you can do to combat this legally. Now, in some cases, too, this might involve extreme, could be literally the extreme, which is Pluto, could be something sports related. Some of you may have heard of extreme sports. It could be that it could manifest that way if you are somebody, especially that's athletic and involved in sports competition. Another way this could be expressed. This could be about very secretive and mysterious. It could be something like very deep investigation, or or taking in deep investigative adventures, which is adventures can be associated with Jupiter. Let's say if this transit falls in Pisces, it could be deep sea adventures. Now, also too, in remote cases, this could also manifest. It could be the death of somebody Jupiter related. It could be a foreigner. Maybe it's a philosopher that you may have known. Maybe somebody that was a college professor that you might have known very well, that might have figured even prominently in your life. Somebody maybe associated with the law that might pass away. Also, too, or some cases too, might be a publisher, somebody in importing or exporting that figured prominently in your life. Now, Pluto is also associated with corruption, coercion, kidnapping. As I've spoken about in previous videos, Jupiter could be rather paradoxical. It could be very strongly benign and benevolent, but it could also have a tendency to enlarge and expand. It can enlarge issues with those things that I just mentioned. Say if it's in the 4th house, it could be a family member or someone you're close to home with. Excuse me, people, sorry. Some cases, too, that could be isolated. This could also manifest in surgery, which is Pluto. on something Jupiter related, like the sciatic nerve. Could be the liver, the pancreas, the hip. Remember, Pluto is about transformation. It could be hip replacement surgery. Maybe it's something connected with cancer. Hold on a moment, people. Sorry about that, I'm back. But anyway, could also be a time to doing something Pluto related, like with the occult, supernatural. Occult can include astrology. Could be something with insurance, recycling, transformation, such as rebuilding engines and vehicles. Might be prosperous at this time. Jupiter can be connected with prosperity. Uh, you might find yourself again going back to the publishing, doing something Pluto related as far as publishing goes, something with waste, recycling, the occult, which includes astrology, insurance, something with taxes. That could be something you might find yourself publishing at this time. So, anyway, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying, stay well.